when people send the wrong scenes for a character, they're jeopardizing their own production, because you have only that day to see 50 or 100 actors, right? It's the day that's on the brief. So now if you gave them the wrong scenes, you end up having actors really working hard, preparing, and coming to deliver a scene that potentially isn't even like accurately the right kind of vehicle to showcase what the actor can contribute to the character. You don't need to have more scenes to get a better idea of how talented the actor is. I find that if you have 2 or maybe 3 scenes that has variety, so from the one scene to the next that are kind of the one scene is perhaps very emotional, the one scene is a little bit more lighthearted, and the other scene is a little bit more confrontational. So to have variety in the scenes that you choose, you're basically opening up the floor to assess if the actor has range, and if the actor what the actor can bring to all the different specific, type of kind of deliverables that you expect from the actor. Your turning point scenes are crucial to your character's arc, right? So going catalyst beat, boom, step into Act 2, all the way through to midpoint to stepping into Act 3, Dark Night of the Soul, all of that. All those, look at your screenplay and go, cool, which are my big scenes? That are scenes that are forcing my actor or my character into action. It's forcing my character into doubt or action, or non-action or action. You know what I mean? So that you can see what that actor would be able to do in the most important scenes of your story, to allow for an arc that the audience buys into. If you have a bigger scene, if you have a scene with quite a bit of dialogue and perhaps more than 2 characters, it's nice to have a scene where the actor transitions from perhaps being upbeat and happy to disappointed to angry, or angry to sad to relieved, or whatever it might be, to be able to see, can you identify different, can the actor transition from, what does it look like, first of all, when this actor transitions from angry to disappointed to heartbroken or sad, or what does it look like when the actor transitions from upbeat to devastated, getting bad news, to going into action or whatever, So scenes that allow for identifying or assessing transition in performance. Scenes that allow, if you have, especially with your leads, if it's a romantic lead, you cannot not audition, have a scene in the brief that is the 2 leads, opposite each other. Perhaps you have so what you'll have the lead pairing the lead with the antagonist, pairing the lead with the supporting lead, and pairing the lead with his or her mentor character. So that's kind of what you want to be doing. You want to see, you want to look at what are the 3 characters that your lead spends the most screen time with. And then you basically, you choose your scenes based on those relationships. Basically create an environment where that is conducive to a kind of relaxed atmosphere, so that you can get the best out of the actor that the actor can bring, to take away the nerves, basically, because often actors, it's terrifying to go to auditions, and and you come prepared, and then something is not how you imagined it to be, or the director didn't greet you like you imagined he would, or whatever, and then you're thrown off, So the waiting area should usually be outside the venue, right? So that you're not hearing people talking while the audition is happening. It's practical and self-explanatory stuff, but sometimes I find that people get it wrong, And the artist idea is obviously important to get a list of all the actors that come for the audition that day, and the character that they're auditioning for, with a number. That's usually like a list with a number and then a sticker on the chest, so that you can identify quickly how to go. Later on, you're going to have, when you're auditioning children, you audition maybe 200-300 children to find one character. So it's a lot of people that come and audition. So you end up having to work with numbers, right?
Be careful what you wear, people. First impressions is very important. And this is nothing to do about skin color or race, but if you've got a dark skin, don't wear white. Vice versa, you don't want overly busy colors. Colors that's got lots of patterns on it creates a problem on screen. Take extra clothes with. Take 2 or 3 outfits. Many times you will be told what to bring. But if you're going, there's no problem if they say, can you wear a jacket? Or if they have something for you to change in, make sure you've got enough options available.
The setup is very technical, and one of the challenges for you as an actor is everybody's focus is on the technical side. So you, now, while you're waiting, have to keep your focus. And one does have that sense of pressure, of I don't want to waste time. But when you are in the space, take that moment, scan your body. It doesn't take long. Scan your body. Take yourself to 0 breath, okay? You are going to be aware of everybody watching you, and you're going to take the technical instructions, but your brain can do both. Scan yourself. Take a second for yourself. Don't just stop. Go to 0 breath and switch on your imagination. Create the environment. Sense the environment. And when you sense that, stop. Does that make sense? It's really important. That extra 20 seconds it takes you to go to that place is worthwhile for everyone. Okay. You are never going to use the theater voice. Yes. Ever. You are always going to go to it. That's why I say take that moment, find your 0 breath, switch on your imagination. When you're ready, maybe go to the emotional pattern you need for that scene, and then start.
You want the artist to be as relaxed as possible. For the artist, you want to be as relaxed as possible. So if there's a lot of people talking and chatting in the waiting area, and you run into friends that you know in the industry or also actors, and it's usually like catch up, but you're auditioning for a role that you want, that could potentially be the catalyst for your entire career. So you don't want to be distracted. You want your mind focused on what you're doing today at 11:30 or whatever the time is. You want to be present and give your utmost best to not waste your own time, but also not to waste the people in the room's time. So if it's too busy, go sit in the car. Go get your number or whatever, and ask maybe the person at the front, how long is this going to take to get to my number, and go sit in the car for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and just gather yourself. And even the more reason why the relaxed environment is to help the artist go from arriving, signing up, getting his or her number, going outside, perhaps whatever, stepping into the room, calm, no music playing, no interruptions, no phones, no, a friendly welcoming and a relaxed, no judgment towards what you're going to bring to us. We are here for you, you're here for us. A kind energy is always to the benefit of all the parties, the the actors and the filmmakers.
But make sure there's enough cold drink or something to eat for these people waiting outside. If they come early, they sometimes have to wait long. At least they'll make sure there's toilets available for people. Make sure that there's a tea or coffee machine there, because naturally these are very important people that you want to keep happy. You do not want somebody that's irritated or unhappy to come to set because of whatever reason.
Make sure you're recording the audition properly with decent sound. You're going to show these audition tapes to the executive producers of Mnet or Miramax or Universal, so they're going to want to see and hear, be able to see and hear what the actors can do, right? So make sure that you have a boom on a pole, is usually how it's done. Boom on a pole, or sometimes casting directors have a small little mic that they put on a chair in the middle, but like get decent sound. Soft lighting, you don't want massive harsh shadows on the actor, because you want the recording of the casting to show as much as you can that happens on the face and in the eyes, right? So you don't want to have a massive key light pushing into the side of the actor's face with a massive shadow that like basically takes away 50% of the expression that's going on the actor's face. So nice and clean lighting, soft lighting. That's usually like a soft box or a scrim or something like that. You want to have an operated camera. Like there's like something that happens in an audition tape when the camera is operated. Like if you have a person that is skilled behind that camera, they'll know when to slightly go in on a little bit of a tighter shot in the right moment, or come out to reveal more body language. You know, that have a skilled person behind that camera that can, on the right moment, give the director that will best showcase what the actor is busy doing. Props and chairs, you want to have the props or kind of the furniture or whatever. If it's a scene on a couch, if it's a scene on a swing, if it's a scene with guns, have a prop gun. If you have one character locked down, rather get that actual actor to read opposite the person auditioning. You're helping the person auditioning and you're helping yourself to see what sort of chemistry there is between the two actors, right? When you're doing a self-tape, you're putting up your camera, so you often don't have an operator behind the camera. So what really skilled actors do is, on an emotional, very important beat, you'll find that they do this. They come into a close-up to kind of to illustrate that heightened emotion. And when it's small things like that. When I see that in an audition tape, I'm like, cool, note, this person is technical. So they'll understand that when I'm on set, they'll hit their marks. They're aware of the environment and the role of the camera. They understand the language. You want to make it clear, especially who the director is in the production company. Obviously the title, the dates of principal photography, because that obviously determines who the casting agents send to the audition. Because they know, okay, cool, you want whoever. You want this actor on our production. We know he's busy shooting on that show during these dates, so he's not even an option. We're not sending him to the audition because we're going to waste his or her time. Dates for first round audition, obviously very important. Times as well, location. And then info to attach. A lot of producers don't like to attach the screenplay. If they do, it's a nice gem. So read the entire script. It will only, as for the actors, it'll only give you an upper hand, because now you have like a holistic view of the entire story and the place of this character and what the context should be of this character. You'll have a bit more information about you don't have it just in 3 lines. You'll be able to read the story and discover for yourself what the backstory is, what the emotional intent is, what kind of subtext would be most appropriate for that scene. So if you do get the screenplay in the brief, it's like please read it. It's to your own benefit. Logline and synopsis, obviously, often if you don't get the screenplay, you'll just get a 2-pager or a 1-pager, which is logline and a 1-pager or a 2-pager synopsis. The sides for each character. So the scenes that you've now decided are the scenes that you want to audition the character for. 2 or 3 scenes that you want to audition this character for. You attach basically all the characters that's in the character brief should have their sides attached in the email as well. So that the agent can literally go, cool, I'm sending these 7 actors for that role, and I'm attaching all the sides for that role. Is they know what sort of actors pull in what sort of audience. So that's the kind of thinking that they apply when they start to put faces on your characters, right? They consider the influence that even like methodologies like not starting with open call castings, but first approaching that one big name and then get that person attached to the project and then use that person's name as leverage to get other actors that are also kind of heavyweights to get involved because he or she is involved.
I guess every director is different, and it also depends on the show that you're doing. Usually, in stage, there's a audition that's broken up into 3 parts, and they usually start with a dance element. So, I recently saw a documentary about how people were casting for a chorus line in New York, and before you get to the dance audition, they want to first see if you can do a double pirouette, which is a dance move. And if you can't do the double pirouette, thank you so much for coming. You don't get to start the audition. Again, it depends on how specific it is that the production team wants to be. So if I was casting, I would probably be casting for a show that is dance heavy. So I would also start with the dance audition. After that, you chop out the people who you know you cannot use. And then you start sifting through the dancers by looking for people who can sing in the specific style that you are looking for. So if you're casting something that is more jazz heavy, perhaps you would say, hey, in the brief you'd say, please come prepared to sing any sort of jazz song, maybe from this era or something like that, so that somebody doesn't come to the audition and sing a hip-hop rap and you're like, yeah, but you shouldn't have come. So you would say, okay, I'm looking for a singer who can sing in this range, in this specific style. Please come prepared to sing, to show us something that's in this range, in that specific style. Any song that you want, or maybe perhaps we could give you a song, but in this sort of style so that we can judge. And then from there, we go into scene work. You're either given something to prepare or just come, or we give you a character breakdown or a brief and then we say, find a monologue that you think shows that you can do this particular part.
Most of us can carry a tune on our own. but you want to test if that person can sing with instruments. Okay? Because somebody might sound kind of okay on their own, but you want to see if they can work with an accompanist. Okay? So you'll have an accompanist playing. That's why it's often better to have 1 or 2 songs or 3 songs, because then the accompanist doesn't have to learn everything. Okay. Or ask them if they're going to bring their own song, they must bring the sheet music so that the accompanist can play for them. Okay. So then already, as Brian said, a lot of people will be knocked out. Okay. Sometimes, though, for the leads, sometimes what they'll say is, okay, so you are not right for the lead, but there's something cool about your voice. Let's see if we can't use you for chorus, for background singing. Okay. That's also an option. So then, that's step 1. Those then who make it, okay, will go on to a choreography audition. Now, choreography audition, again, doesn't mean you just dance. It literally means looking at the style of choreography that you want to use. Are you using something? Are you using jazz? Are you using, the people need to be able to tap? Are you using African fusion? What is the style? Okay? And then typically, that's the one thing you want to see, can people dance in that style. And the most important thing you want to see in a dance audition is, can people learn choreography? Because a lot of people have got moves, but you need people who can work with the choreographer. If a choreographer shows you this is the routine, they can pick it up quickly. Okay, so you'll either have a choreographer filming a piece of choreography, people go and learn it, and they do it, again with music, or the way that it's mostly done is the actual choreographer will come in, everybody will be there, the choreographer will teach them the choreography, and people will do it. Okay. And then based on that, selection will make. Okay. Then everybody that still then does not fall out will then go over to your last round, which is the typical acting on camera audition. It's very, very important that you find a choreographer who can do screen dance. Because it's a completely different way of choreographing. If I put 15 bodies on the stage, the spatial dynamic is one image that I need to capture, and I need to get lines and depths with one image. If you do screen dance, you are going to have, as Andrew said, maybe wide angles where it's a beautiful formation versus close-ups. And in a close-up, if you just do normal dance, it's going to look awful. So the choreographer needs to work with that. And often in screen dance, and a lot of research has been done around that, so you guys must read up on it. With screen dance, normally the choreographer and the cinematographer work together very, very early on. Okay. Also, because you're working with screen dance, you want to find dancers who are not just clinically better, I can do a perfect movement. You want to find people who can interpret. So there's performance in the dance as well, because you're now going to see the dancer's face.
Yeah.
You're going to be up close with them. Okay.
Yes.
When casting for a musical, there are 2 things I think every director should be aware of. A musical cannot happen if the performers in the musical can't sing, right? So, when a composer writes a beautiful score, it's got beautiful music, beautiful melodies, and those melodies are structured in a way to highlight certain emotional climaxes of certain scenes and stuff like that. If the singer can't hit those climaxes, the musical will fall flat. If an audience comes to see a show and everyone's very excited to hear the story, but they're all distracted because the only thing they can focus on is the fact that, oof, the singer is really not singing on key, that detracts from the story. And the only thing that we should actually care about is the story and in telling that story well. If the audience leaves very impressed with the singer, oh, she has such a beautiful voice, oh, did you hear her do that run over there at the end of that song? That's also not what we should be aiming for. The aim is not to highlight an actor's singing ability. The aim is to tell the story. So, I once went to go see a show. So, it's based on a very, very popular book. I think it's a Pulitzer Prize winning book. It got turned into a movie. Everyone loved the movie. And then they decided to turn it into a musical. Opened in the United States on Broadway in New York, and apparently people were walking out of the theater crying, people were sobbing, they're saying their lives have been changed. One, because honestly it is a really good story, and there is power in telling story through music when, I'm sure you guys have all heard a song that really gets you. So this musical is apparently really, really good, and a South African production team decided that they were going to stage it in South Africa, and I went to go see it. And I remember while watching the show, I was distracted by a lot of the directorial choices, but I thought, oh, maybe I'm just the only one. At the end of the show, the audience, everyone leapt up onto their feet and people were clapping. I guess I also stood up because I didn't want to be rude. And, we clapped. And honestly, the performers performed well and the show was visually stunning to look at. But there wasn't a single tear in the audience. And as we were all filing out, back in the day when people could do things like meet and file out, I remember overhearing some conversations, and everyone was just talking about how pretty the lead actress was, or, oh yes, because we saw her on Isibaya, or, the singing was so good. And I went, it's disappointing that a story that has changed so many people's lives has been reduced to an actress's performance, or to the set maker who made things fly in and out. I mean, that is important. We should recognize the performance. We should recognize the effort that went into making the sets. However, it's not the point. The point is the storytelling, right? And usually in a musical theater scene, how the scene is structured, if generically, there's a song within a scene, and it usually happens towards the end of the scene. As a performer and as a director, you cannot structure the scene to start in one place, knowing that it has to end at another place, and the song starts somewhere midway. You can't structure it to move this way, and then the song starts and also moves that way. That has it breaks the musical up into two components: the story and the music, which then at the end you get people leaving not remembering the story but remembering the music, which doesn't help anyone. When you're casting, you're looking to cast people who can sing the part. You're looking to cast people whose voice range matches the part that they'll be playing, right? And this is something that gets a bit unfair sometimes, because usually in a musical, the villain will have a deeper voice. So the villain will be singing down here while the hero will be singing up here. And if you're like, oh, but I really want to be the villain, but I don't have the voice for it, that's that. You don't have the voice for it. It's what it is. And you as a director can try to cast an alto to sing a soprano role, and you have a poor girl, you know, trying to sing that she loves this man, and she's, I love you, trying so hard to just get to that note when it's not happening. And you're like, no, but she's the better actress. True, but if the better actress is going to distract the audience, you're not doing service to the story. One of my favorite films is a film called Evita. It stars Madonna. It's a film musical, but originally it is a stage musical, which won a lot of awards and everyone loved it. And it's written for a mezzo-soprano voice. So the idea behind how the story is structured and how the music for it is written is that the main character, Eva Peron, is shrill, loud, and obnoxious. So all the songs that she sings are up there. They're shrill, loud, and obnoxious. The lyrics are obnoxious. The way she carries herself on stage should match how she's singing and what the story is about. Cut to Hollywood. Hollywood wants to make a film and they don't want to cast somebody who nobody knows, so they cast Madonna. Madonna cannot sing the part. So the composer has to try and bring all the music down so that it's sort of in Madonna's range, and she sort of just ends up sort of singing the entire musical. And, you know, people who haven't seen the musical before go, oh, shame, you know, Madonna did a good job, and, you know, I empathize with that character, you know, shame, poor her, you know, she was so mistreated. And you, or me, as somebody who knows the stage production, goes, but that's not the character at all. Because Madonna couldn't sing shrill, loud, and obnoxious, her character ended up being very timid. Therefore, the character was not realized the way that it was supposed to be. And that is not Madonna's fault, because it's not her fault that she can't sing. It's not the composer's fault, because the composer wrote the music and the studio or the producers decided, no, we have to change it so that it can fit Madonna. Don't cast against what the music is trying to do. Make sure you know the music. You have an idea that, okay, I want, just like visually you'd be like, okay, I want the lead actor to look a certain age, maybe to be a certain height, maybe to be of a certain build. It's not the actor's fault that the actor is short and scrawny. But if you're short and scrawny, you're not going to be the heartthrob. And that's no one's fault. It's just what it is. We need to serve the story, not people's feelings and emotions.
Normally what would happen in audition is you will have an area where the casting crew will be seated. It might be on set, like on the set here, or in a theatre situation like this. That will include the producer, director, casting director, all of these people that the experts before me has talked about. The fact is there's an area for them, and they will have a monitor and they might have headphones to listen to what's happening there, because not everybody likes to shout at the actors or raise their voice if it's not necessary. But the situation is this: there will be a setup area where there's a monitor for the people to look at, camera, lighting, seating, and sound. That will stay the same if it's a static setup, but it can change because depending on what you want to capture for the day. This is a static head and shoulder. Now normally what you would do is you would make sure that you've got enough close-ups of a person that when you're casting, you've got full body shots because you want to see how tall they are and how physique, how they look, and then you want some movement shots. If it's a singing, naturally you're going to do that as well. Choose the right equipment for your audition as you would for the production. Doesn't need to be the same equipment, can be of lesser quality or expense, but still, if you, many times the executive producer or so is not on set or on the casting to look at the people, that material must then be able to be sent to wherever he is. Or they might want to do a live link and people can sit wherever they are in the world and watch the different people that they are looking at for the day. Choose the right equipment, know the equipment that you're going to be using. Don't make the mistake that unfortunately I have also done, is you arrive on set, you set everything up and you go, where's that little thingy? Which thingy? That thingy that connects the camera to the tripod. And you look, and now suddenly the whole audition is falling apart because you can't do what you planned. So make sure, like a normal shoot, you would go through the gear and make a list of everything that you need and take that list. Very important. You want to see the person and you want to hear the person. Something I just want to say, casting is not just about looks. Looks are important, but like the stories that we tell, the characters that's in that stories all look and sound differently. So you want to see and hear the person that you are shooting today. It's also very important that you have different microphones necessary to record people. For instance, that's a rifle microphone with a cable connected to it. So you don't have to mic up anybody. People miking up somebody is where you physically take a microphone and clip it onto somebody. And normally what you would do is take the microphone and put it under the person's shirt. Why? Because you don't want to see an ugly cable running down. Now, you don't just walk up to a well-known actor or anybody for that matter and say, can I put a mic on you and start working? You'll get a big clap. Because you're moving into that person's space. That's something that everybody here must remember. You don't just grab a microphone, doesn't matter who it is, push it into somebody's face. You ask. There's mic etiquette. All right, just take note of that. The problem with radio mics is the sound is very good and you don't have to worry about a sound guy or a boom swinger. The problem is you have to take it, put it on and take it off for every person. And if there's 100 people out here, it takes so much time at the end of the day to exchange microphones that people normally do a setup where the microphone is set up for people and they just rotate through them. I also did a lot of interviews. I used to shoot Yo TV and I used to shoot a lot of the music shows that came out of a company called Urban Brew. And they would do a lot of walk and talking. Now walk and talking is the camera is walking backwards and the presenter is walking with the radio mic or with a handheld mic and they are following the camera. It's important that when you do sound and camera rehearsals with your people coming for the audition, that you actually switch the camera on, switch the light on, give them a microphone and say, let's walk and talk. Because not everybody is comfortable in doing that. So what am I saying? I'm saying do a test on a rehearsal with, like what Brian was saying, if you can't do a double pirouette, you're out. If you can't walk and talk, if it means that you're going to be walking and talking all the time, and you can't do that from the beginning, we know we can't help you, or you can't help us. Talking to a camera is difficult, but it is one of those things that you get used to. I've trained many people that wasn't presenters over the years to become comfortable equipment. And that's also why it's very important that you make sure that when the person comes and sits in front of that camera and they are nervous, either the director normally or the cameraman or the person, just make those people less scared, because they might lose on a very good performance just because they are scared of the camera. As I say, what is important here is that your director can see what's going on in the camera. Secondly, it's important that he can hear. Now the sound, there's no sound out on many cameras. So you've got your microphone plugged into your camera and it's recording sound, but now sending that sound again to somebody else, you need either a very long cable with a headphone connected to it, or you need another breakout box. So again, make sure before you go and shoot technical wise, what will be expected from you. Is there more monitors that you need? Because not everybody, if you've got a couple of people, not everybody wants to sit and look over somebody else's shoulder at the performance, right? Find out beforehand what's available, how much electricity is available. If the system, this place uses dimmers, you might find that you can't plug your equipment straight into their power points. They've got C-form connectors here, round plugs that you can't plug nothing into. If you're going to a location where we're going to shoot, find out how big it is. Find out what sort of sound will be available. An echoey place will be a big problem for you. Is it going to be daylight or tungsten? That preps you for the amount of equipment that you need to take. Because you do not want to be the person that everybody looks at. You want to be the person that's looking. Make sure that you're shooting on something like MP4, MOV. There's very fancy codecs nowadays that we can shoot on, but it must be something that people can play either on a PC or on an Apple. Equipment, it must be not, the files mustn't be so big that the person that wants to download it or look at it needs hours for it to download. It must be compressed and made smaller so that it's easy. You must actually even make short clips of it, and you must be able to WhatsApp it if you have it.